Street Talk and other stuff, Mike, Mad Dog Magnetti. Thanks for tuning in on this Monday. Hey, now look, we have got some serious stuff coming up with these midterm elections and elections in the fall, okay? And we have issues in our community where people are running for office in order to impose their will, their values on the rest of us, rather than representing people properly the way they should. Now, we have people who are running for office who need to be challenged. And we're going to talk about that today. And I've got a guest we're going to go into this in as much depth as we can in 30 minutes. But I want you folks to pay attention. I want you to maybe take some notes and think about it, that we have some serious stuff coming up specifically in my district, the 12th Legislative District in Washington State, that we're going to talk about specifically today. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. Street Talk and other stuff. Stick around. We're going to be right back.
The Wenatchee Apple Sox 2026 season is off and running.
Swing and a fly ball deep right field. Kanoa Santiago.
The Sox return to Wenatchee at the end of June and beginning of July. The Apple Sox will first face off against FC for a 2-game series and then welcome the Edmonton Riverhawks for 4th of July weekend. On July 3rd, Wenatchee will have a post-game fireworks show that you won't want to miss. So spend your summer here at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium to create some lasting summer memories. Apple Sox baseball, it's harvest time.
At Colonial Vista Senior Living, we believe life is meant to be lived fully. Our wellness programs inspire residents to stay strong, flexible, and confident every day. Here, curiosity is encouraged, friendships are nurtured, and every activity is an opportunity to connect, create, and enjoy life together. We invite you to experience the lifestyle at Colonial Vista Senior Living for yourself and discover why so many call our community home.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCW Life, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Community is more than just a place. It's the people, stories, and connections we share. At the Wenatchee World, we're your neighbors, your storytellers, and your trusted voice. From uncovering the issues that matter most to celebrating the moments that bring us together. We deliver the stories that keep the community moving forward. The Wenatchee World, your community voice, here every day.
Okay, we're back. Street Talk and other stuff. I'm very happy to introduce my friend Meliesa Tigard. Have I got it right?
Meliesa.
Meliesa, okay.
But I'll take Meliesa. That's
okay,
fine.
Right,
Well, that's good.
Good.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I appreciate you being here today, and I know that we have a lot to unwrap, okay?
Yes, we do.
And this is important stuff, so I'm just going to start and say, tell us about yourself and what you're here for. I mean, you got the floor here.
Certainly. Well, I'm a cult survivor. I grew up in a high-control religious sect, so secret that the book on them is called The Secret Sect. I call them the 2x2s because I'm not going to call them the truth. I grew up and founded Focal Point Tutoring in Wenatchee. I've had that for 25 years, and I also founded Confluence Indivisible, which does a lot of civic advocacy work here in the Wenatchee Valley. And what we're talking about today, I know it from the inside.
Yeah,
I
because
lived
you've had this experience. You're seeing what's going on in areas in our community right now.
Exactly. So. I grew up in a theology that hurts people, and I know what it's like, and I do not want for another generation to get hurt the way that I did.
Okay. So what specifically do we need to start talking about?
Well, let's talk about a little bit about my work. I've got a couple of books that are out there. All of these are about getting out of the high control religion and the healing journey that comes after that. Little Mouse and the Purple Door is based on my specific...
Excellent book. I read it right before I started the other one. Didn't get through it all yet, but
You read Little Mouse,
Yes, I
yeah.
did.
So that one's autobiographical. There's a healing journal that goes along with it, and that is for working through your own story, because it's an allegory. You can bring your own story into it. And if you are, particularly if you're part of the queer community, this is based on the stories of other people that I know and love.
Right.
And it also has a healing journal that goes along with it. They're all available on Amazon.
Now, and myself doing my best to be what I call a Sermon on the Mount Christian. I know I fail, but I do. I know that many people are deconstructing
Yes.
from having negative religious experiences. And I say this repeatedly, it is not with Jesus that you have your problem.
Correct.
Okay? So, your experience, and what has it led you to say that we need to start talking about today?
Well, it's led me to wanting to talk about what's happening in our local community.
Right.
And you were mentioning that we have some candidates who are running not to represent us and represent our local community, but with a goal, with a motivation to do their own
They
thing.
want to represent their agenda.
Yes,
they have
thank
been
you.
very clear about it in this recent Freedom Con thing that was held out at the Gorge last weekend or whenever. But again, my wife always says, "Why don't you let your guests talk? You talk too much."
I understand this. Well, let's start with the school. Because they've got a school, Garden City Academy. This comes out of Grace City Church. And day one, they had the kids swim the Columbia River, hike Birch Mountain with rocks, and it was all find your grit or quit. And what I recognize from this is that this is not resilience training. What it does is it teaches children to endure suffering without speaking up or reporting it.
Very
That is
interesting.
how I was trained. That
Okay.
is what I grew up with. This is what abusive systems require.
So you put up with this and keep your mouth shut about it.
That is
Okay,
exactly
all
right. McPherson's quote, we're finding ways to
You're
diagnose...
talking about Josh McPherson.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Josh
that's fine.
McPherson, pastor of Grace City Church. We're finding ways to diagnose children who don't need drugs, they need a spanking. As an educator, I am concerned
And he
by
said that about children who have ADHD.
ADHD, that is
and that's a direct quote.
That is a
correct?
direct quote, and that is concerning.
Now, and I want to say, I don't care how a man raises his son, as long as there's no legally, defined abuse going on. But the point I want to make is that this has nothing to do with being a man, okay?
Correct.
Now, I wrote an article, Substack. I mean, I've done man stuff. I've shot guns, chopped wood. I was a cop for 20 years, yada, yada. Women can do the same thing.
Yes, they can.
Being a real man is strength of character, kindness, empathy,
Integrity.
helping the people in your life heal if necessary. Okay, the other stuff, shooting guns, that's fine. You want to teach your kid to shoot guns, but it has nothing to do with being a man, and it has nothing at all to do with Christianity.
My husband embodies this all the time,
Okay.
and there's nothing that is not manly about a man who has empathy and who
Exactly.
has kindness and who is spending quality time with his children.
And if you don't mind me saying this, and if you disagree, you can tell me, but what I strongly feel is that we men, due to what you women have to go through in this society, have to be there to be your safe place, not in a misogynist way, but to be someone that you can depend on, not to perpetuate the negative experiences you've had in the past. Does that sound fair?
That's exactly right.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
And there is being open to a mental health therapeutic mindset, and I'm going to give you another Josh McPherson quote on this. I wasn't interested in having some woke therapist implant stuff in a kid's head 15 years in some therapy session. No, we're not doing that. Okay,
Right.
we're going to discredit the therapist before we even get there.
Right, exactly,
Kids can't
yeah.
even go and speak. We stop the conversation before it ever starts.
Yeah.
So again,
That's an interesting point.
these are very
interesting point.
concerning quotes,
All right.
and it's particularly concerning for someone who's running a school.
Okay. Now, where do we move on to there? Okay.
Well, Dominic Bonning's documented 5 men connected to Grace City Church who've been arrested or convicted of sex crimes against
Right.
children, and the most recent arrest was June the 10th. Right after that, they had their Stronger Man conference.
And that is something that, again, one of the Substack articles I'm writing, I'm going to talk about. As somebody who spent 20 years in police work and spent the last 20 years in mental health work, I like to say your therapist knows everything about you. I'm going to share some brief snippets of some stories about things that I'm well aware of that it would happen within the church culture because these people don't know what they're doing.
Correct.
Okay.
They don't
These
have
people
mental
are-
health training.
No, they are doing, domestic violence counseling,
Yes.
counseling for sexual abuse issues. and I'm sorry, they can say they have spiritual discernment. Now, it's religious mumbo jumbo.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
Leave the expert to the experts.
Okay.
Leave the mental health job to the people who are trained to do it.
And see, here's the thing. They're going to come back and say, well, we don't depend on secular wisdom. Well, I'm sorry. Your religious wisdom doesn't cover these things, okay?
Well, and let me just go ahead and clarify that for those of us who grew up in these high-control religions, the long-term result to us is chronic pain and autoimmune diseases. I am way too young to be walking with a cane, and it is completely due to trauma. That is my history, and that is what I want to save other people from. It is personal for me, because the long-term effects of what it is that they're espousing and what they're saying we should do to these kids and to the next generation, it increases aggression and lying in those kids, and watch for that as a theme in the adults, because we are seeing exactly that as what they're teaching what a man should be.
Right. Now, the reason we're bringing this up and making this so important is right now, Adam James, the second in command at Grace City Church, is running to represent the 12th district.
Yes, he is.
Okay. They want to impose these values and these feelings on the rest of us.
That is correct.
When it was announced from the platform of Grace City Church that Adam specifically is going to be attacking the darkness in Olympia, okay? Well, define that darkness, okay? When I asked him specifically, is the queer community part of this darkness? I hope they're not, because we all know how you and your church feels about it. Doesn't need to be elucidated. He looked at me and he said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. And we're going to
come on, if there was a disingenuous statement.
We're going to use a term like darkness because it's vague, and we're going to use that to then cover what we're actually talking about. And what in action did we do? We took down the pride flags. We're going specifically after the queer community. What are we doing? We're telling women that they need to submit and that they don't have sexual agency even in their own marriages. We are going against the agency and the well-being of our queer community and women and children, and that's what it is that they're doing in practice. And I'll give you Adam Jones's quote here. We cannot Adam James, thank you. We cannot simply complain and gripe about the darkness of our state. The need of the hour is urgency. We will claw tooth and nail to build our victory and to establish the dominion of Jesus Christ right here, right now. Dominion.
Dominion is a word we have to remember, and I think dominion is the motto
Correct.
for the school.
Correct.
Okay?
Yeah.
And this is a word you need to remember, because what these folks want to do is establish dominion. I mean, they say it, dominion over the rest of us.
Correct.
And specifically, it has to do with something called the Seven Mountains Mandate, which we're going to start talking about right after the break, which will be coming up soon. So leading up to that, what else? Malcolm hasn't warned me that we need to take a break. So
dominion comes from domination. So let's just be clear about that. That's what we're on the verge of being governed by. People who want to dominate us. And another Adam James quote, Satan hates losing ground and we love taking it. So when I stand up for myself as a woman, when I stand up for the queer community, when I stand up for children and for people not to be harmed by this theology, that's what they're defining me as.
Okay. And you know what I like to say about Satan? I don't need his help to get into trouble. I can get into trouble all on my own.
And we should take this seriously, because they've raised.
Definitely take it seriously.
They've raised like $250,000, $300,000 for Adam James specifically. They had $200,000 in the first 24 hours because they announced it from the pulpit at Grace City Church, and that's who did the majority of the donating. Sorry. And Mike Steele, who's been the incumbent for however many years,
he's doing a good job.
He's got around $50,000 right now. Okay. So he doesn't have the kind of money to compete against Adam James and Grace City Church, and that's an issue.
But the thing he does have, he's got a good record, he's got the experience, and the man knows what he's doing. See, and this is something else that, what are these folks' qualifications?
Yes.
Okay? Now, I went to Bible college. I've been a Christian all my life. I used to serve as an elder on my church. I read the Bible and pray almost daily. This doesn't qualify me to be a counselor or a politician.
It does not.
I would really like to know. And this is a serious, honest question. Tell me your qualifications.
You know, one of the 2x2 ministers was asked about the sexual abuse crisis in the 2x2 church, and he literally came out and said that they believe that their church can heal a sexual predator and make them better, and that the Spirit of God is the solution. So if you're a sexual predator, you need to go to more meetings where you are going to have access to children.
And pray that God will change you.
Pray harder, go to more meetings.
And like I like to say, Jesus does not do magic tricks.
He does not.
Okay, all right. You know, you got to tell me to calm down here, okay? All right. Obviously, I'm passionate about this, but folks, this is important stuff, and I want you to pay attention to what's going on. Now, when we come back, we're going to start talking about something called the 7 Mountains Mandate, which is going to tie some of this together. And I'm going to ask you to do a little research on this on your own so you can verify what it is we're saying. But we need to take a break. Meliesa and I will be back in a few, so Street Talk and other stuff, you stick around. We will be right back.
Hi, I'm Amanda Walden with A. Walden Insurance Group. Medicare can be overwhelming, but you don't have to figure it out alone. I've been helping people understand their Medicare options for over a decade. Medicare isn't a one-size-fits-all. I'll help you understand your coverage options so you can feel confident in your decisions. Let's find the right Medicare plan for you. Call me today or come and see me at my office located on South Chelan Avenue in Wenatchee between the YMCA and the Social Security office. I look forward to meeting you soon.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether,
we provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
NCW Life Channel is your local TV station. We believe in being the spotlight and mirror to the communities we serve in North Central Washington. Programming on NCW Life would not be possible without our sponsors. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor, Alpine Air. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air.
Okay, we're back talking with Meliesa Tigard, and we are right now going to start talking about the 7 Mountains Mandate. Now, a little bit of background. 7 Mountains Mandate concept, which we're going to explain, it's been around for quite some time, but it was really brought to the forefront of evangelicism by a guy named Lance Wallnew. Now, Lance is an interesting man because he holds a doctorate from what the government said was a diploma mill. You can't even find it anymore.
Yes.
Wallnew was the only Christian leader who did not condemn the violence of January 6th, okay? And Wallnew also is a participant in an organization called Ziklag, which is comprised of people with at least a net worth of $25 million, right. And their job is to create dominion over the rest of us. And I like to say that Wallnew evidently became a Christian to do good, and he's done right well.
I guess so.
7 Mountain Mandate. Go ahead, explain.
All right. Well, again, this is the worship of power. In the name of Christianity, we're saying we're worshiping Christianity. This is actually the worship of power. And we want to have
opposite of what Jesus taught.
Correct. And we want to have domination over society in these 7 areas: the family, the religion, the education, the media, arts and entertainment, business, and government. Right. What's Garden City Academy? Education. That's right. They're already on that one.
And we saw an attempt to take over the school board earlier at the last school board election when unqualified people, lies were told about.
Yep.
You know, the school board members who were there. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, again, the deception and the lying and the minimization of abuse. These are themes, and they're going to come back over and over. Stronger Man Freedom Con. There is the government mountain organizing. They're trying to bring in statesmen to dismantle government. They're not trying to run government. They want to dismantle government.
And isn't there a quote that says that from
that's
Mr.
McPherson's quote. Yep, exactly. We need people who are suspicious of government running for office so they can get inside and just start dismantling it.
And this is why Adam James
And
is running for 12th district representative, okay?
He is. And by the way, we've got a bunch of other ones too. They're running a number of people who are either Grace City members or they are Grace City friendly. So you should know who these folks are. It's on the Confluence Indivisible cheat sheet that we have at the Confluence Indivisible Facebook page and on our website. But here's who they are. Spencer Moline running against Kim Schreier, Amanda Kinney running to replace Dan Newhouse, Brian Burnett, and Adam James for LD12, who we've been talking about. We should circle back to Burnett. Sean Smith, County Commissioner, Brant Capel, the Auditor, Marty Young, the Clerk, Adam Musgrove, Douglas County Sheriff. So either Grace City or Grace City friendly. You should know who these folks are, because if we don't want to be dominated by people who have their own agenda, who want to control how it is that our society works, these are folks to know not to vote for. And Brian Burnett was our sheriff for a long time.
He was for a long time, and he was defeated by Morrison.
He was defeated by over 10 points, and he calls it retirement.
Right.
Is that an accurate statement?
No.
Again, here we go with the deception and the dishonesty and the minimizing of abuse. These are themes. So Brian Burnett cost our taxpayers over $5 million, $5.65 million in settlements. There's a deputy fired and retaliated against. There's a deputy bullied for leaving Grace City Church. There's a wrongful death in custody. There's Grace City Church equipment used for malicious training on county time. These are all themes. Again, we have abuse of power, we have the worship of power, and the attempt to consolidate power. No checks and balances. Is that an American idea?
No, it's not, and it's definitely not a Christian idea, for heaven's sakes. I mean, what Bible are these folks reading, okay? And like I say, you want to know what Jesus thought? Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5-7. You can Google it online if you don't own a Bible. It'll take you 15, 20 minutes.
And I actually had a moment where I challenged one of these guys. I said, spend the next 6 months reading only the word of your Lord. Go to the red letters in the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Read the red letters and the words of your Lord only, and spend the next 6 months specifically reading and meditating on that. And that man came back to me and tried to explain to me that that was blasphemy. Okay? Reading the words of Jesus. That's not Christianity.
Oh, I love it.
Right.
I love it. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. And see, this is the thing. I don't care what a church does or teaches. You know, I mean, I do care, obviously, but let's be honest. You know, being macho doesn't equate to being a real man. Now, you can be macho. That's fine. Like I said, I've done these man things. Okay, but what's important to me is that I'm a person my wife can trust, a person who's safe. Someone who my grandkids trust, somebody who has empathy, understanding, compassion, integrity. Now, I'm not perfect in all those things. I fall short in many ways, but these are the true attributes of being a man, and I want to say it again. If you're teaching boys to be macho, that's fine, but if you're not paying attention to the other things, and then you're putting them in an environment where women are marginalized and less than, this is a recipe for domestic abuse. It has been shown over and over again. Okay?
And domestic abuse is definitely connected to men believing that their wives are property, that they have dominion, domination over them, that they should have sexual access to them, whether or not the woman is interested or complying.
Women have been told, you have to give your husband sex whenever he wants to.
McPherson quotes on that.
You know?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes. So this is not consent-based. This is not healthy, and it is directly related to domestic violence. It is also related to the kinds of abuse that happen to children, including sexual abuse. And now we have a number of different people who are arrested and convicted of those things.
Now, I have a Substack article coming out that talks about this specifically, okay? And I sent it to Mr. James to look at. I mean, I have contacted these people over and over again, most of the time not getting any kind of response with legitimate questions, okay? And when I mentioned that the Project Man card and the lessening of women's roles in society was a recipe for domestic abuse, he said, that's garbage, it's blasphemy. And I said, well, in my Substack article, I said, well, Adam, just listen and I'll explain it to you. And I also say, because you have no understanding, this is not a crime, being ignorant about the dynamics of domestic abuse. Many people are, but if you're basing your counseling to people on this ignorance just because you're a Christian and you have some sort of spiritual discernment, all you're doing is promoting religious mumbo jumbo.
You know, Rita Nakashima Brock wrote a really excellent book called Proverbs of Ashes, where she explains Christian theology misused in this way to tell women who were being domestically abused to go back to their husbands, that this was just God asking for them to sacrifice. Well, no, Jesus suffered more than you were suffering. You need to sacrifice, and you need to suffer, and you need to go back to it. And many of these women were killed.
This is your cross to bear.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then we end up with women actually murdered in these situations.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Meliesa, we need to take a break.
Yes,
okay?
That's good.
But very much appreciate you tuning in today. This show is going to run 5 more times this week, every day. If you've seen it, you think it's good, advise your friends to watch it as well. But hey, we're going to come back after a short break, but Street Talk and other stuff, you stick around. We will be right back.
The Surf and Slide Water Park is open from Memorial Day through Labor Day. Surf and Slide is located in the heart of Central Washington in Moses Lake with activities for all ages and abilities. Check out Surf and Slide's Flow Rider Surfing Simulator, Lazy River, 2 200-foot water slides, tube slides, and diving boards. Our children's area includes a Treasure Island water structure, splash pad, and baby octopus slide. For season passes, visit us online or find Surf and Slide on Facebook.
Fibercrete fireproof safety rooms can be the difference between life and death for you and your family. Typical fireproof safety rooms are 8x8 Fibercrete panels providing a solid sanctuary. Fibercrete safety rooms can be above ground, buried underground, or built within new home construction. Best of all, a safety room by Fibercrete is very affordable. Call 360-770-2088. You owe it to your family to find out more about Fibercrete safety rooms.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCW Life, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCW Life. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCW Life channel.
Okay, we're back. Now look, I want you to take notes on this one, okay? On July 6th, between 6 and 8 at the First United Methodist Church in Wenatchee, that's the Methodist Church on Washington and Miller Streets, Pastor Aaron Musser from Leavenworth is going to be giving a talk called Demystifying Christian Nationalism. He recently gave this up at Leavenworth. Dominic Bonney reported on it, so did the Wenatchee World. Excellent information. This man has done an incredible amount of research, okay? And I highly advise, again, July 6th, 6 to 8 at the First United Methodist Church in Wenatchee, Demystifying Christian Nationalism. Something that is, by the way, neither Christian nor American.
Indeed, exactly. Confluence Indivisible is going to follow up with another event after that, about the 18th of July. We're still working out the details on that one, but it's probably going to be a panel, and it's going to look more like more information on Christian nationalism and letting people know what's happening in our local valley. If you're interested in my things, I've got purpledoorjourneys.com. On Amazon, I'm Purple Door Journeys, and on Substack, I'm also Purple Door Journeys with a series called Understanding What Happened to Us. So that's my stuff. It's all about what it's like to grow up in these coercive control communities and what it has done to those of us who are survivors and how to get out of it.
Okay, and we also want to reiterate, don't forget the word dominion. This is why these folks are looking for power, because they want to have dominion over the rest of us to impose their values. Now, I don't care how a man runs his own household as long as he and his wife are in agreement. That's fine. But don't come to my house.
Correct.
Okay, and tell me what I should be doing.
Correct.
All right? Unless, of course, you're a cop and I'm breaking the law and I need to be arrested.
This church does not get to dominate our local politics.
No, it does not. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. Okay? So, strong advice again. I'm going to give this one more time. Okay, First United Methodist Church on July 6th between 6 and 8. Demystifying Christian nationalism. And again, like I said, I read the article Dominic wrote and the article in the paper. This man did an incredible job breaking it down and tying it specifically into what's happening in our community. Thank you very much for being here. I really
so
appreciate
welcome.
it.
I'm so
and I'm
glad I was
sorry
here.
if I talk too much and
You did great.
Get a little fired up.
I think you might even go pro with this. Good job.
But hey, I really appreciate you turning in, Street Talk and other stuff. We will be back again next Monday. It'll be a little more lighthearted, okay? But this is important stuff. I hope you paid attention, and check when this show is going to run later in the week. Have your friends watch it. But Street Talk and other stuff. See you next week. Bye-bye.